Know your place, old man. We don't serve welfare cases here. The slap cracked through Baker's diner like a whip. The elderly veteran reeled, blood bright against the fluorescent light. His flag pin catching the glare. Phones rose. Forks froze. The room held its breath. The old man didn't raise his fists. He reached for his phone. At 7:23 a.m., Arthur Hale shuffled into Baker's diner, same glass door, same worn brass handle, same booth with his back to the wall. Routine meant safety. His navy cardigan was pressed, his VA papers stacked neat on the formica. Elena Ruiz topped off his coffee with a smile. Across the room, Dylan Carr sprawled in a corner booth in a crisp Carstone builder's jacket, steel-toe boots polished like a promise. He liked his reflection in the window and the silence when people made room for him. Outside, Nate Collins, a journalism student, set a camera on a tripod to capture authentic small-town mornings. Inside, Jack Baker's security cams blinked red above the pie case. Dylan watched Arthur count quarters. The quiet dignity grated. He rose, heavy boots, heavier stare, and cast a shadow across the veteran's table. "Morning," Arthur said, polite by reflex. "You seem real comfortable here," Dylan said, loud enough for every booth. "Real comfortable for someone living off government handouts." Arthur stood slowly. Posture precise, eyes calm. "I'll leave now. I don't want trouble." "You'll leave when I say." Dylan slid to block the aisle, slapped the table, sent coins skittering and coffee sloshing. Somewhere near the register, Fire Chief Luis Ortega pushed back his chair. Elena lifted her phone. Nate's lens tightened on the glass. "Please move," Arthur said evenly. "Make me, old man." The shove hit the veteran like a breaker, cups exploded on tile. Dylan leaned in, crimson with adrenaline. "Apologize, for making decent folks uncomfortable. I've done nothing wrong," Arthur said. "Wrong answer." The slap broke the diner's silence. Arthur steadied, chin lifting, eyes narrowing with a soldier's focus. "You just made a serious mistake," he said softly. Dylan smirked. "What are you gonna do, Grandpa?" Arthur scrolled to his first contact, Daniel Hale, Secretary, Department of Homeland Security. The line picked up on the second ring. "Dad? Are you okay?" Daniel's voice was crisp, immediate. "I'm not badly hurt," Arthur said, level. "But there's been an incident at Baker's diner. It will hit the news. I'm recusing. FBI will respond. Stay put." The word agents moved through the diner like thunder. Dylan's smirk faltered. Phones dropped. Elena exhaled. Power, she realized, wasn't volume, it was knowing exactly whom to call. Sirens wound close. Chief Ortega secured the scene, EMS cleaned the cut on Arthur's cheek. Witnesses lined up. Nate offered his footage. Elena handed over her phone after Ortega explained. Chain of custody in plain English. Dylan retreated to a booth with an attorney on speaker. Misunderstanding, the lawyer tried. Purely defensive contact. Every camera in the room had recorded the slap. At 8:15, a navy suit and a badge changed the air. Special Agent Ava Whitaker, FBI. Her stillness steadied the room. "We're taking lead on potential civil rights and elder targeting violations." She listened more than she spoke. She logged devices, preserved originals, and interviewed with surgical calm. "Mr. Hale," she said, respectful but official, "will handle this thoroughly." "I want only the truth," Arthur replied. While agents logged statements, Agent Whitaker watched Dylan, jittery, scrolling, whispering. Something about his posture said predation. Not impulse. She asked Elena and Jack about patterns. Their answers aligned. He's been bothering older folks for months, Elena said. Asking about benefits. Watching their paperwork. Got him on camera hovering over documents, Nate added. I filmed it this week. Patterns. Predators only look random until you map them. Whitaker called Harrisburg, send financial crimes. This isn't just an assault. By late morning, S.A. Rebecca Torres arrived with forensic accountants. Warrants moved like chess. In Carstone's satellite office on Maple Street, file drawers side open, color-coded tabs, photocopied IDs, VA statements, investment plans. The ledgers hummed a rhythm only a thief could love, small transfers under review thresholds, repositioning, that meant. Take, not protect. Prelim loss, $2.3 million across 5 counties, the accountant reported. Victims mostly elderly, many veterans. Back at Baker's, Agent Whitaker interviewed Arthur again. You mentioned he photographed your VA paperwork. What was visible? Disability rating. Appointment schedules. Benefit statements, Arthur said, precise as a range call. Last week he hovered over Mrs. Carter's bills. 2 weeks ago he grilled Mr. Rodriguez about his VA checks. The pattern crystallized, not random harassment. Reconnaissance. The FBI imaged Nate's camera. His week-long small-town project had caught Dylan in multiple locations working the same script, observe, flatter, extract. By evening, the case had grown. Golden Crest Retirement Services, a shell tied to Dylan, mirrored the same methods in nearby towns. The AG's office had complaints. The BBB had smoke. Now the FBI had fire. The next day's warrants cracked a safe, a spiral notebook labeled prospects, seating maps of Bakers marked with camera angles, and a thin binder stamped field playbook. Inside, a training manual for exploiting elderly veterans, sections on building trust. Through service talk, using rank and ritual, and neutralizing influencers. And then the line that chilled the room, segmenting targets by race and language. Priority, African American. Vets, high isolation, bank distrust. Opportunity, Hispanic elders, family remittance pressure. Caution, white vets with community influence, neutralize early. Civil Rights Division needs this now. Torres said. This isn't just fraud. It's racial targeting under color of commerce. News vans clustered by noon. Riverton, Pennsylvania, a town that preferred its business quiet, became a headline. Inside the diner, Agent Whitaker told Arthur what she'd learned. You weren't alone, she said. He's been hunting here for months. I don't want revenge, Arthur said. I want everyone he hurt to get justice. Saturday morning, Arthur opened a drawer he hadn't shown anyone. A manila folder labeled in careful block letters, community notes. 8 months of dates, times, names, phrases. He'd been trained to see patterns in Iraq. Once you learn the outline of a threat, you can't unsee it. He called Agent Whitaker. I think this helps. At Arthur's kitchen table, Whitaker and Torres paged through the notes, quiet surveillance written in a steady hand. Tuesday, October 15th, car approached Mrs. Rodriguez, watched VA paperwork. Friday, November 3rd, followed Mr. Santos to his car discussing repositioning. Mr. Hale, Torres said, looking up, this is exceptional intelligence. Why didn't you call sooner? I'm 78, Arthur said simply. If I cry wolf, people stop listening. I wanted to be sure. He produced a second folder, emails from a VA Inspector General liaison he'd quietly supported for years. Arthur Hale wasn't just a victim. He'd been a trusted community source, helping protect vulnerable veterans. By Monday, a federal grand jury was seated in Philadelphia. The picture was no longer a single smack in a diner. It was an interstate enterprise engineered to profile and strip elderly veterans, especially minorities, of their dignity and savings. The Civil Rights Division joined the case. The charges grew teeth: conspiracy to violate civil rights, wire fraud, money laundering, elder abuse across state lines, assault on a federal informant. Dylan's first attorney bowed out. His second tried culture war spin, federal overreach. Judge Patricia Carson wasn't impressed. Chain of custody was clean. Video was abundant. The field playbook sank any doubt about intent. Victims spoke. A retired sergeant described losing $18,000 and sleep. Mrs. Carter confessed she'd signed forms she didn't understand because someone said, "We take care of our own." Jack Baker admitted he missed the pattern happening in his own booths. Nate's documentary footage, meant for class, became evidence. Finally, Arthur took the stand. He wore the same cardigan, the same flag pin, the same bearing. "Mr. Hale," the prosecutor asked, "how did your notes help expose this?" "I did what the Army taught me," Arthur said. "Observe. Verify. Protect the people to your left and right." He didn't just pick pockets. He picked targets by age, by service, by race. The courtroom held the kind of silence that means truth has landed. The grand jury returned indictments on 47 counts. Bail denied. Assets frozen. Associates unsealed in 4 states. What began with a slap ended as the largest elder fraud civil rights case the district had ever seen. At sentencing, Dylan Carr stood small and gray before the bench. His watch was gone. So was the swagger. "Mr. Carr," Judge Carson said, "you organized the systematic exploitation of elderly veterans, segmented by race, cloaked in trust, enforced by intimidation. This court imposes the maximum permitted under the law. Years stacked like bricks. Restitution ordered. A forfeiture plan to claw back what could be saved." Outside, microphones waited for Arthur. He didn't speak to the cameras. He looked down Main Street toward Baker's Diner, where the morning light fell on checkerboard tile and a new little sign above Booth 7, reserved, "Thank you for your service." In the lobby, Daniel Hale, having kept his ethical distance through every step, met his father with a quiet embrace. No podium. No statement. Just a hand on a shoulder and the words that mattered. "I'm proud of you, Dad. Proud of you too, son." That night, Riverton felt different. Not louder, truer. People who had watched in silence now held doors, asked names, checked on neighbors. Elena poured coffee for Arthur on the house. Nate edited a new film, less about a slap than about resolve. Jack added 2 more cameras, not out of fear but duty. Justice didn't erase the sting on Arthur's cheek. It did something better. It restored the dignity a bully tried to take, and warned every predator who hunts in the quiet places that the quiet fight back. Clear as a sentence. Pronounced, final as a gavel, what started as humiliation in a diner ended with protection for hundreds, reform across counties, and a town that would not look away again.